You're on.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah Scholes, and today I would like to share with you why the governmental organization of Export-Import Bank should not be eliminated due to the fact that it does help stabilize and stimulate the U.S. economy. So the Export-Import Bank was, as Max said, established in 1934 during the Great Depression to stimulate our economy. The goal was to create a greater export of U.S. goods and therefore increase the amount of U.S. jobs. The Export-Import Bank is largely successful in this goal. For example, in the fiscal year 2014, there was $27 billion that the Export Bank was authorized to use to support domestic businesses, and with this money it was able to create $37.4 billion worth of exports. So as you can see, that was a more than $10 million revenue generated through this bank. Also, in the same fiscal year, the bank created about 205,000 American jobs, as well as supported many more. The Export-Import Bank also finances exports to foreign buyers by using direct loans, export credit insurances, and loan guarantees, the breakdown of which is shown in this graph. And so with like these loans and whatnot, the bank is able to help support U.S. businesses in reaching a foreign market. Rockberg, in the taking sides argument, argues that the Export-Import Bank is necessary because it wards off competition from other foreign export credit agencies. He says that all other industrialized nations have their own credit export agency, and it's only natural that the U.S. provides its own for U.S. businesses to be able to receive loans from. This way, U.S. businesses aren't competing with disadvantages in the foreign market because of other foreign export credit agencies. John Murphy, in an article from the Washington Examiner, also argues that backing is needed to strike deals with foreign markets. By this he means that there are some companies within the United States who are not able to receive loans from private lenders, and the only way that they could receive money is through the Export-Import Bank. Now, some who are opposed to this bank may argue that it is because these small businesses are risky, they're untrustworthy, and it's a risky business dealing with them because it's not guaranteed that they have the funds to pay the bank back. But he argues that private lenders are more concerned with dealing with small businesses who have a low dollar value and seeing them as not worth investing in. Rockberg also argues that the Export-Import Bank is necessary because it finances small business exporters. For example, in the fiscal year 2013, 89% of the bank's total transactions dealt with small businesses. Now, although only 19% of the money authorized towards the bank went towards small businesses, it still impacted more small businesses than large businesses. Some would argue that that's an oversight of the bank, with so much more money going towards large businesses, but it only makes sense that large businesses require more money to reach the foreign market, whereas small businesses don't require as much. Rockberg also acknowledges that there are problems with the bank and states the many ways that the bank is working to overcome these problems. There have been several positions created recently, such as the Chief Risk Officer and Enterprise Risk Committee, and their main purpose is to assess the potential risk that these dealings have between the bank and the businesses that they're loaning to. These positions report monthly to Rockberg himself, who's the president and chairman of the bank and also to the board of directors. He also argues that taxpayers are not as much at risk as many people believe because the Export-Import Bank has a $4 billion loan loss reserve. So if the bank does lend to an untrustworthy business, then they have that reserve to go off of, and it doesn't immediately impact the taxpayers. Rockberg also says that the bank is working to improve its measuring and reporting to Congress, so how it measures the actions and impact of the bank, and also how it reports it to Congress, like how trustworthy that information is and how extensive it is. So, as Mac mentioned, the Export-Import Bank does only support 2% of total U.S. exports, which sure seems like a small amount. I mean, it is a small amount, but that's still 2% that the U.S. would not otherwise generate in exports. And as you can see here, this is the amount of money over the years that the Export-Import Bank has been authorized, and the amount it's authorized is consistently lower than the amount of money that the businesses it deals to generate in exports. So even though it is a small percentage of total exports, it's still beneficial in the fact that it is generating revenue for the economy. To conclude, the Export-Import Bank is important and beneficial to the U.S. economy because it helps stimulate it and overall increases U.S. exports and U.S. jobs, which is the entire goal of the bank in the first place. Are there any questions or comments? Thank you.